Okay. No one's coming to save you. Lessons from my childhood. I did tell you that I would tell you about the house fire that we had. There are so many stories in between, or there are so many stories that led up to the time between me falling out of the window and the house fire. From the food fights, the great food fight, um, my dad taking my mom's. It's not funny, but it was funny. My dad stealing my mom's paycheck, spending it, and then bringing donuts home um, while he was drunk. And I remember that, I remember that vividly because my mom was crying. She was upset all day. I didn't know what she was upset about when we kids, but we were hungry. And I think my mom was stressed about paying the rent. Anyway, I remember my dad coming home late. Um, was it late at night or in the day? Okay, so that part I don't remember, but I know he came late and he brought this huge um, box of assorted donuts. I mean, sprinkles. There was Jimmy's on some, eclairs, just all kinds of donuts. And my mom saying, "You stole my check. You cashed my check." And she punched that box up in the air. And I remember we were hungry, and like the little rats we were, we scrounged. And I remember I grabbed the box of donuts, what was left in it, because when she punched it, the donuts went in the air, and I pulled it under the bunk bed with me, and I mean, I was eating it. And they were arguing, and I remember the cops came and took my dad away. My mom called the cops on my dad a lot back then. And I don't know, that kind of just stuck with me, that your husband could just take your check. Somebody allowed him to cash it, and he just spent it having a good time. And now my mom has to figure out how to pay the rent and get food for us because my dad was very much irresponsible and reckless. And even with all of that, my dad, in between getting drunk and fighting, punching holes in the wall, he used to tell us these funny stories, like humorous stories about his childhood. He was always over the top, very charismatic. Like, he had our full attention when he told these stories. And those are the times that I liked him the most. Like, Dad, tell us about, how you got shot with the bow and arrow. We found out years later from our grandma that never happened. My dad made that up. But he would just tell us the story over and over again. We didn't care. We just loved hearing that story. And we loved getting allowances whenever he worked at the auto body shop. But the same way he would give us allowance, he would get it back. He would convince us to play pt2. It's a card game. And we had to put our money up. And my dad, he didn't care. If you was bold enough to play with him, he was bold enough to lose your money. And he got most of the money back. And my mom was like, I don't know why y'all keep playing with him. He's taking y'all money. Stop playing with him. Never learned a lesson. So my dad used to be a blackjack dealer in Atlantic City. My mom and my dad moved back and forth from Atlantic City to Newark at this point. My mom also worked in the casino. So spades, tunk, pity pad, poker, all of that was very much a part of our household. I ain't play too much because I ain't like losing my money. I was a little kid. I ain't gonna play no games where I lost my money. I've always been a very tangible person. You understand? So one night they were playing cards. It was my mom, my dad, my oldest sister, my older brother. They were playing cards. My brother ran out of money. And my mom goes, well, look, I'll give you, I don't know how much money she offered to give him. I'll give you this much money to get back in the game if you make me French fries. Because my brother can make some bomb-ass French fries. So my brother goes to make the French fries. He got money, he got back in the game. And he forgot to turn off the stovetop. It was grease fire. And I don't know if y'all know, but grease fire spread really quick. So grease fire was spreading. Everybody's getting out of the house because, oof. My mom gets outside, and I think by that time there was 5 or 6 of us. My mom had 5 or 6 kids at this time. And, later on they were telling me how she just kept counting. She kept counting. And she kept screaming, somebody's missing, one's missing. She was screaming, begging for my dad to come back and get me. He didn't wait for the fire department. And I was in the back room, asleep. And I remember my dad picking me up, throwing me over his shoulder, and I couldn't see anything. It was so dark, and I could barely breathe. It was so dark. I could see the orange flames coming from out of the kitchen when we got closer to the front door. And then by the time he got me out, Red Cross was there. The fire department had got there. And we were in an apartment, so that whole side caught on fire. And after that, we stayed in the Red Cross for a few days, and then they put us in a hotel in East Orange. We never went home. And so, as much as I'd be mad at my dad, I'd be like, that man saved my life. No matter what he did, I always say, I owe that man my life, because he went back and he got me. So even though I say, learn to never trust anybody, in that instance, the person who I least thought to ever rely on came back and saved me. My mother begged him to save me. So I thought, well, maybe she do like me. She thought enough about me. And even through that bad situation, when we got to the hotel, I got so tired of eating scrambled eggs and ketchup. I also remember we had chicken pox while we were in that hotel, and how much we were complaining about itching and how miserable we were. And then, right before we left, because we were there for months, started a new school and everything. They called us the smoky kids because all of the clothes that we had still smelled like smoke and soot. I found a wad of money down in the lobby of that hotel. So much money. It was so much money. I remember I just shoved it all in my jacket and my heart was beating like a mile a minute. I get back on the elevator. My mom opened up the door and she's looking like, what's wrong with you? And I was just like, I went inside, opened my jacket. So much money. There was 50s. There was so much money. And I remember my mom gave me $5 or $10. And we had pizza that night. And we had donuts with milk. And she's like, I'm going to put the rest of your money up. And then I found out she went to the casino and gambled the rest of my money away. I never seen that money again. But me finding that money afforded us a break from all them damn scrambled eggs with ketchup. And to this day, I don't like scrambled eggs with ketchup. Them childhood traumas, boy, they stick with you. That's enough about that. Till next time.